Hi, how are you? I'm frustrated. I feel stupid. Do you ever feel stupid? Like so stupid it's infuriating? If you have, please press a pause and write a comment down below. The frustration today, or have been a few days already, is about buying things. And on the other hand, it's related to receiving gifts. And it causes me a lot of anxiety for some reason. I don't know, am I the only one who suffers things like this? I'm well aware that it's a first world problem to feel bad when you have to buy something, or not have to, but when you want to. And of course there is always this like thinking about whether it's necessary or not, and does it cost too much or not, but this is for me like every time. And although it is a first world problem, I still would like to enjoy spending my money instead of feeling anxious. For example, it's a totally different thing to buy something that just I want for myself, or buy something for the family. That's easy. Let's say that my husband decides that we need a new couch. The old one is too small for this apartment, for example. So there is no problem. Then I look out all the couches that are available and compare and look at the prices, and then show him some couches that, okay, this is the right price, this is the right quality, and which one do you prefer? And then we just decide. And I don't think about it because it's for the family. And my husband did the initiative to get us a new couch. But earlier this week, I had the idea that I want a new vanity, or I want a vanity. I don't have one. So that's kind of small table that you put your brushes and your mirror and your makeup on, and there's somewhere like suitable for it. In this room that I'm filming now, this is our dressing room, I have had the old table in there. You may have seen the black leg of the table in some of these videos, but it's not very suitable. It's too big for this place. It's ugly, if I may say so myself. It's my table, and it doesn't have any drawers. And of course it has a little bit of baggage on, because it's one of those first tables that I bought for my company when I started it. So it was really budget table. It costs next to nothing. And I did varnish the top myself and put it together, and it's from IKEA. So it reminds me of the very cold office when I started, and it reminds me of work and the fact that it's not very like stable. It rocks if you try to do anything with it. So now I'm using that as my vanity, and it's too big, ugly, and I don't want it anymore. And that's the problem. Nobody else cares, nobody else says that it's ugly, but I want a new vanity because I'm that kind of a person that wants things to be pretty. So this just like came to my head, and I was like, okay, I Google out vanities, and I found one, like instantly. It was like it was on sale, so it was 150, and it was white, and it has these gold things and 2 drawers, and it looked very pretty. Of course I cannot see it like in real life because it's on a web shop, but that's the case this time. And then I showed it to my husband that, how would you like this? Is it pretty? Or is it just too blingy or something? And he said that That's fine, and it doesn't cost much, so just order it for yourself. It's pretty. I can live with it. Because of course, if he had said that it's too much gold, then I would have just skipped it. But then, of course, I started to think that, is this the best possible option? Because I don't want to make mistakes. I don't want to order something and then next week see that something more pretty is more affordable price and more suitable. So I Googled hundreds of vanities. Most of them cost like 500 or 600 or 1,000, which is all too much for a vanity in dressing room. And they are not very much prettier, and there is nothing to it. And then I look like meticulously every detail in the vanity, about the drawers, about the handles, about the metal things that go back and forth, and there is none. So it's a traditional drawer, no metal thingies to help to put them in and out those drawers. And I think that, okay, is this a deal breaker? If the drawers don't function properly? And then I of course think for another night, and then I think that, okay, if those drawers don't work properly, I can actually like DIY the metallic things to the drawers. I'm handy that way. So I'm back on track, and I think that, okay, this is the vanity that I want. And then I put it on the shopping basket. And then I go to pay it, and I see the amount 150. And I start to think that it's money anyway. Do I really like spend 150 to this vanity? And it would be like 3 trips to grocery store, or not maybe 3, 2.5. Then am I sane? Why am I doing this? And then I look at that old table and think that, okay, I understand. I wanted this. I wanted this because it's pretty and it's for me. And then I start to think that, could I just move furniture around and get some smaller table in here that would be suitable as a vanity? And I look around and I think, and there is actually nothing. There isn't anything that would function as a vanity that I could take out of its place, because we don't have very much furniture, only the necessary ones. So if I take a table out of one room, then it's half empty, and that's not very pretty. And I don't want that table to living room or to this like a more open spaces. So I'm back to square one. Then I of course went to my daughter, who uses this kind of old vanity table as a desk that she does her homework and stuff. And I asked her that, do you want to like a bigger table, like a proper desk? And she's like, no, maybe someday, but maybe not. And then I said that I can take this to my dressing room if you want a proper desk. But she doesn't want to let that go. She wants to have this pretty small desk that it's actually a vanity as a school table. So I'm back to making the purchase or not. And then 4 days goes by, and I'm still thinking about it. And I'm measuring the place, so where does it fit, and is it now certain that it's not too big? And in those 4 days, I of course gradually read all the reviews. It's good that we have reviews on the internet, because then we can see what other customers thought. And I go and look all 400 reviews. And there are 2 reviews that say that the drawers don't work properly, and 380 that said that, well, this is good for its price, this is splendid, this is best buy of my life, or so and so, but I'm happy. So those were the like percentages about who liked it and who didn't. So now 5 days has gone and I'm still thinking about it. And at this point I think that, okay, I'm going to order it. I put it again in the cart and press send. Okay, now it's done and it's going to be here in a few days. Normally at this point I start to regret. Like the instant that I press the button, then I start to regret. What did I do? I just threw away 150. And what if it's bad? What if it's ugly? What if the drawers don't work? What if? And am I stupid? And how stupid I am that I just went and ordered it. And can I cancel it? Yes, I can, but I don't want to because I have thought about it 5 days and it would be silly and it would be extremely stupid. What kind of person just orders and then instantly cancels? That's stupid. And would I have my money back? Well, eventually, yes, but not necessarily quite very fast. But this time, I didn't have the regret, but just a teeny tiny bit. And at this point, I have to think, and of course I have thought it many times during these many years, that why? Why do I have this, like this supposed to be joy, and I just feel anxious? It's supposed to be fun to buy stuff that you want for yourself when you actually are working for the money. And it's, of course, if we go back to childhood, we can find various things. When I was small, in the 70s, we didn't have much money, but I didn't think anything of it. We weren't poor, but we weren't rich either. And we lived in a neighborhood that nobody had very much money, and it was quite cheap. Everything was like relatively priced. Our house didn't cost much because it was in the middle of the woods and my father built it from the scratch. So life was good in one way, even though, like, comparing the amount of money that we have now, we had very much less. And all the clothes were handed down from my sister, which was older, and she got it from our cousins that were many and older than us. So clothes and toys and everything were handed down to the next generation of kids. But of course, every now and then I wanted something. I wanted something like an even teeny tiny bit. And my mother said always, no. The first answer was, you don't need it. Whatever it was, you don't need it. The second answer was, we'll see, which is same as no when it comes from my mother. She said very often we'll see, but it didn't mean we'll see. And the third option, which was the most cruel, was that she would laugh. One time, I remember it was before Christmas, and there were commercials on TV that there was this toy dog that when you clap your hands, it barks. And I said to my mother that I would like to have that kind of dog that barks. And she started to laugh. She laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. What a ridiculous idea. To our home, a dog that barks. That, oh, you silly child, how can you be so stupid? What is that, like dog that barks? And when my sister got home, she went on and on and on and on, and maybe even to my father. Do you think the stupid girl wants a dog that barks? And I just thought, with the head of an 8-year-old that I don't want anything. I don't want anything anymore. That this was a big mistake to say anything. How could I be so stupid that I would want the toy dog that barks? So if you get that kind of answers to anything you want, anything you wish for, anything that you have really like thought and thought and thought, because I didn't ask much for my mother because she was a kind of cruel woman and she didn't talk much, so everything she said was taken seriously. And then I like got my courage and asked something, and this was the answer. So I learned to like be ashamed of my feelings of wanting something. That must be it. So I just said that I don't want anything. But then Christmas came and I got the dog that barked, the toy dog. Can you guess what my mother did? It was a joke of that Christmas. She laughed and laughed and laughed, and how now we have the dog that barks. And I was even more ashamed. But how can I get over it? My mother isn't here. She lives far, far away, and I don't see her very often or talk to her that very often. But still, she's in my head. She and her things or thoughts that I shouldn't want anything. And of course there is if you think that, am I worth something? Am I worth anything so anybody would give me something that I just like, that doesn't have any value beyond that? And everything that I do and everything I acquire should have more value than just my pleasure. But I try to learn out of it, slowly but surely. But whatever I buy is very thoroughly thought of. So I don't just go and buy stuff. And my husband says that he can always say yes if I want something, because it's not very likely that I'm going to buy it anyhow, because I'm more like, I think about these things more than he does. And so he can be like a little bit careless with that. But of course he accepts that whatever I really, after the thought process, end up getting, then he never says anything about anything negative. And that I am grateful for, because otherwise it would be too much. There is a like sibling issue to it, is about receiving gifts. And that's even more difficult than buying things for myself. But I think that I will talk in another video, because Christmas is coming and we have lots to talk about Christmas. But please comment down below if you feel something similar ever. This was all for today. I hope you have a great day, and I see you soon. Goodbye.